Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the brutal cost of affirmative action and race, gender, quota hiring. What sort of got me to do this today, and I've touched on this subject previously, was I went to a couple of sort of lunches, barbecue type things recently, and sitting next to a woman who'd be, I don't know, mid-30s. She's a lesbian activist and pretty low IQ and just absolutely caught up in very dogmatic ideological positions. And I'd written her off as being some sort of junior legal aid type lawyer in some bullshit area, race relations, legal. I'd written her off as sort of someone involved in that. And anyway, it was announced. Somebody said, "Oh, by the way, congratulations, Billie Jean, on your elevation to the bench," meaning she's been made a judge. And I was, "You got to be kidding me! I mean, you are fucking kidding me! This is a judge." And I would sort of put this woman as a junior or even a trainee legal aid, social justice lawyer at best, and that's being generous. And she's actually being given a judgeship now. At the following, a couple of days later, at another place where a guy who is a judge and quite a prominent one. I'm sitting next to him around the table. We're having a barbecue lunch type thing, and he mentions the lady that I'd been talking to previously is the chief legal officer for one of the biggest banks in the Asia Pacific region. Now, this would pay, well over $1 million a year in income, and which puts her into a very elite group. One in every sort of 1,200 people or something is making the sort of money that she's getting paid. But having spoken to her, if she was unusually bright or capable, then it certainly didn't come across. She had quite a sort of sneering, condescending tone, which probably didn't dispose me that well to her. But I was looking for, because I have a view that if people are a bit, well, not so much the sneering, but the condescending and that sort of thing, if they've got an IQ of 5 million, then I'll take it. Like, okay, well, hey, you're that smart, I'll take it. You can look down on me. I do not have an IQ of 5 million, so go for your life. But this woman, if she was gifted or intelligent, then she concealed it exquisitely. So I couldn't see it at all. So I'm looking at how could this abrasive, obnoxious, low IQ person get one of the plumbest legal jobs in the country, in the whole country, and she's got it. Like, what does she know? Who does she know? She's got this limp-wristed little gay guy. He's not gay, but limp-wristed little simp as a husband, and or pretend husband. I'm not even sure that's real. But so I'm looking at this low quality thing. I mean, you got to be kidding. Now, when you look at, say, the U.S. Senate committee reviews, where they review the candidates that are being put up, not just for judgeships, that sort of thing, but also for senior roles in the public service. They're meant to have some sort of an oversight committee. Now, it's a Senate oversight committee, and the Democrats have a majority in the Senate. And so no matter how bad the candidate is, they seem to be getting through pretty much all the time. I mean, one or two sort of don't, but they're ones that it's just so embarrassing for them, they drop out of their own accord. But if you have a look at these interviews where the Senate, the members of the Senate, or particularly the Republican ones, are asking questions from these people, and you can hear them talking, and their intellect and their reason, their experience, their knowledge, and so on. And it is embarrassing. You go, holy fuck, why would you even dream of putting people of this quality, such low quality that is, into these roles? why would you even consider them? Now, I see this because, given I've got a share in the business, well, I see this at the pointy end of the commercial world, if you like, of going out to meetings and so on. And we had one earlier today where this is a public tender, and we'd sort of gone in for this public tender. As far as we could tell, we'd won it. They called us in for sort of the final talk through, which when that happens, that typically means you won it, and they just want to, dot a few I's, cross a few T's, or that's traditionally how it's been. So we get there, and the person that we have to deal with isn't the guy who we thought we'd be meeting there, but it's a brown gay guy who was very pleasant, by the way. He wasn't obnoxious. I wouldn't say he was particularly bright, but he wasn't moronic. He was, in between, I suppose. He's an affirmative action appointment, obviously, and he's been promoted well above his capacity and ability. And he's got that bum boy type look and feel about him, and the attitude. But so we went through it, and it was these things don't usually take that long, but we went on for longer, a couple of hours, I guess. And he suddenly got a look on his face, which made me think, having been around for a long time, that they'd already pre-decided this, and they were just pumping us for information that they were going to use then for other reasons and purposes. And then he declared that purpose in not so many words. They'd let us around on a charade because they don't have the expertise that we have. Not many people do have the expertise that we have in this very specific niche area, by the way. So we know who the other players are. And so anyway, the guy says, look, we've decided to extend the period of the tender, which is it had already expired, and we got no notice that it was being extended or anything like that. So we've decided to extend the period of the tender and keep it open. And then the declaration came, because we want to give more opportunity to businesses owned and run, or where they have minorities, where minorities are in the majority. Or owned by minorities. And now this was never a criteria, so they're arbitrarily introducing this criteria. More to the point, though, what particularly got annoyed me was we'd won the tender fair and square, but they just didn't want to give it to a bunch of straight white guys, regardless of the merit. So the merit was not, we don't care about the merits of this. So they're extending the period of the tender, or the closing date, which it had already closed, by the way, but they're just arbitrarily extending it for another 4 weeks to give the opportunity for, again, proverbial black lesbian owned businesses to bid. Now, I can only assume either they didn't bid, or their bid was a piss poor bid, and so they didn't get it. And it was saying, given they wanted to give it to a minority business, then the minority responses must have been quite poor, and I don't think there were very many of them. And again, the level of complexity of the work would mean most of the minority people would look at it and go, "Ooh, don't want to do that. That's too hard." So they've extended this, but they wanted to get as much information out of us as they could, and so the questions this guy was asking was very much the sort of thing. Well, how would you do that? How many people would you put on that? And he'd scribble some notes and so on. So we're pretty much convinced that he's taking straight white male, heavy lifting intellectual property, just so he can hand it over to the proverbial black lesbian. But they won't be able to do the work, just because you've got a book on how to do international finance in 5 minutes. That doesn't make you an expert. So we were sort of rather peeved by that, that it was deliberate deception and a deliberate attempt to steal our knowledge, if you like, and give it away to other parties for free simply because they were black lesbians. But just as importantly, though, it was determination to say people who know what they're doing, as in us. aren't welcome anymore in this world. Now, I invite you to look everywhere, anywhere and everywhere around you. If I go to take my relatives or one relative in particular to the doctors, we're lucky to find a doctor that speaks English. Let's suppose they've got somehow functional English, then they are just, these doctors, supposedly qualified doctors, are just running off a checklist. They're not actually, doctoring, if you will. They're just going off a checklist. So if patient has headache and runny nose, go to paragraph 2. If patient says they have, then go to paragraph 3. And it's just a matrix checklist that they go through. They're not giving medical advice or anything. Now, if there is anything, if they get some sort of a general idea of what it is, they'll just shoot you off to a specialist. Now, if you're getting full medical benefits from the government, you're a pensioner or an old age pension, something like that, then that's fine, because it doesn't cost you your time and your travel, then that does, but it doesn't cost you anything to serve. Now, some of these experts that they send you off to, could be an expert in hearts or stomachs or whatever. They send. If you're a fee paying, you can be paying $300 or $400 just to talk to the guy, and the guy then, the so-called expert, then sends you off for other tests, and so you're forever running around and around in tests, many of which you have to pay for. So you can burn through thousands of dollars going through test after test for the guy to say, "Oh no, it's not a problem. You've only got a cold." So the amount of money the wastage is just astonishing. But some of the specialists are quite good. But when you come across specialists that aren't straight white males, you notice the difference. The difference is huge. This is not prejudice. It's just a huge difference in them. No, I'm sure there are exceptions to the rule. I've no doubt that, but certainly the ones I'm coming across, and I have to drive the relative to and stay with her and all this sort of things. So I'm meeting incompetent people at all levels, whether it be the doctor, the specialist, the receptionists. It's insane. I remember one of the medical receptionists. Just not long ago, they decided that there had to be an additional fee to pay for. The government paid part of it, but she had to pay some additional top-up amount. So we were told this wouldn't be needed. So it was a bit of but they refused service, and they only told us this as seconds before we're supposed to walk into the specialists' consulting rooms. And so I said, okay, well, not a problem. I'll we'll transfer the money direct into your account, and so on. And the woman looked, what do you mean? Well, we'll transfer the funds into the account. We'll need your account number. I am not giving you the account number. You're not. No. That's not how it works. It's depositing money in. And she had no comprehension of it at all. She was that stupid. And so that turned into the drama. And as far as she was concerned, she was fighting back. And so we had to find another way, which we did. So wherever you go, whether it's in shops or whether it's in you're going to shops and saying, "Oh, I'll have the special of the day, the burger and the fries," or something like that. What? Huh? What special? What's on your website? What is it? What website? Your website? Your company's website? No, it's not. Well, yes, it is. And you call it up and, I didn't know that. And constantly, you're going into meetings where the CEO delegates a junior person to me, and they'll say such and so. Well, that's not in the contract. What contract? What contract? The contract your CEO has signed. What contract's that? So this idea of unprofessional behaviour, incompetent behaviour, and simply low IQ people that are not qualified. They don't know how to do the job. But we're in a situation now where unqualified and competent people are now getting jobs based on their previous job. So if you get a job as executive director of Looking Sideways, and you've got a degree in looking sideways, and that was your job at the last company, you can then apply for another job and they'll pretty much hire you straight in for it. You tick the boxes. You've got the degree for looking sideways. You did the exact same job for their nearest competitor down the road. So as far as the HR department is concerned, and the HR department are utterly inept themselves. They've got no idea what questions to ask or how to ascertain whether or not you know or don't know how to do the job. They know you've got the degree, the certification. They know you did that job for those guys. Tick the boxes, and so we're now in a situation where the incompetent people are actually just doing the loop and doing the full circuit. But wherever you look now, again, whether it's in medical practice, any sort of service of any description, it's now a complete shock to me to find people who know what they're doing. It's a recent example. I was at the beach, and there were the lifeguards there, and it was pretty rough weather, and rips and so on, and suddenly the lifeguards all left the beach at once, and I noticed and thought, wow, that's a bit strange. Where are they all going at once? And an hour or so later, the guy, one of them comes back, and they've decided to have some sort of diversity, equity, inclusion seminar. The lifeguards, and so they've gone into the main lifeguard house, the surf house or whatever they call it. It's gone in there to have this diversity equity course seminar given, and then someone's decided, hold on a minute, it's pretty rough weather. We got a lot of rips out there, and a number of people die each year. So maybe one of us better go back out there and just keep an eye on things. So the beach is unattended for an hour, and then on a day when you'd need multiple lifeguards, there's one guy there who's a little bit put out, by the way. He didn't want to have to come back, so he's sitting there playing around and texting on his fucking mobile phone. I mean, half the swimmers in the beach could have drowned, and he wouldn't fucking know. So it's everywhere now. You see, there isn't any aspect of business, shopping, access of any goods and services, any interaction with the government department. There isn't a private sector, and there's less and less business is decided on merit, by the best quality business or the best price or the best service wins. There's that side of things is shrinking rapidly. So there's fewer and fewer people who are needed who have the merit or have any form of merit. The rest of them are there just as passengers and time servers and so on. And I think I mentioned this many times before. There's if you look at the best paying jobs in Australia now, the majority of the best paying jobs, or the tiny minority of best paying jobs are in the private sector. Government jobs, which used to pay not so well, now pay very well relative to the private sector. NGO jobs that paid, charity jobs that paid absolute shit money in days gone by, and now again some of the best paid jobs on the internet. In the whole fucking of Australia, you get these diversity directors are getting $400,000 and $500,000, $600,000 a year, double the amount that a senior civil engineer building a major bridge would get. So we're looking at a complete realignment where there's a diversity advisor job that was advertised for a politician, this politician was like the chairman of the diversity committee or something like that, and so there's a job. It pays $250,000 a year, and all you need is a sociology diploma for this. Now, I'm sure it'll be gifted to some black lesbian or something. I'm sure, but this is the sort of thing. Now, $250,000 a year, it's not a huge amount of money in Sydney, but that sort of money relative to an equivalent job in the private sector, it's very well paid. And we have to understand that the wealth, as in salaries and income, that sort of thing, is all being moved around into areas that have no merit about the rigged market outcomes. Stacked outcomes, sweetheart backroom deals, NGOs that are nothing other than social active, spreading social division. That's where the money is now. It's not in merit. And we got a rude reminder of that earlier today. Well, you kind of have won the tender, but we're going to reopen the tender just so we can give it to a black lesbian-owned business. I mean, you got to be fucking kidding. But that's the state of things. You've been a Tassus today. You're a pushback channel. Thank you for listening.